Good afternoon. We're going to talk about best practices and lessons learned with data migration. We're going to focus mainly on the data migration to a target system of SAP. Anytime you do a data migration, it opens up the door to start an information governance practice within your organization if you don't already have one. Some of the events that can help you, that can compel that are migrations, ERP migrations, go-lives, data quality issues with your master data, analytics, mergers and acquisitions, et cetera. One of the surveys by the ASUG group, which is an SAP user group, shows that 75% of all the respondents in the survey said that they had data issues discovered late in the project lifecycle. Now, by not focusing on your data up front and finding those issues before go live, bad things can happen to you. You're going to be late, it's going to be cost overruns, it's going to have to fix it, or you're going to go live with bad data and you're going to have a system that's unusable. At Utopia, we espouse a methodology that aligns with the ASAP methodology of SAPs. And what that does is help to define the data migration steps and take the mystery out of those steps. It gives us a framework for planning and scoping. It reduces your risk, and that's the key in all of this, reducing your risk, understanding where you're going and what you're going to do. And it gives you data integrity when you go live finally. The next slide is going to talk about the actual process of a data migration to SAP, utilizing SAP's data migration best practices. So your target system is an SAP ERP. Your source data is a number of different places. It can be Excel, it can be in a legacy system, wherever. So we're going to then take that data and utilizing the best practices approach, we're going to pull that data into a staging area, and we're going to cleanse it, we're going to profile the data and cleanse the data. We're going to pull the configuration rules from the ECC system so that as we iterate through the data, we're going to be able to make sure that the data passes all said rules that are in the ECC system, and so that when you go live, you've already iterated through all of the issues and the data is going to load properly the first time. After you've done that, you want to reconcile your data. After you've loaded, reconcile the data back to making sure that all of the data is accounted for. Some of the data might not go through the migration process. It might have been archived along the way. You want to make sure that you reconcile every record and make sure that all the data is supposed to go in, went in. So finally, once you've built this process, and we'll build this slide out again really quickly to show after you're done and you go live, your work's not over. As was mentioned before, data quality is not a one-time deal. It's an iterative process. So once you're done, you want to put a process in place to monitor that data, to reconcile that data, and to report on that data. Also, it would be a good time to archive the data or decommission old systems. This gives you continuous transparency in your information governance process because after you go live, you need to continue to reutilize and reuse the rules that were created during the data migration process and cleansing the data and prepping the data for its load. There was a survey done a number of years ago by TDWI, and that survey told that 6 months within going live, 20% of your data has aged or has data quality issues. Now, why is that? There's a number of reasons, but that survey also showed that 75% of all mistakes entered into a system were entered in by employees. Now, one would think that an employee entering data into a system, what they do every day, they'll get it correct. But think about this, if you will. If you're going online and you want to order something from a website and you don't pay attention when you put in your name and address because you know your name and address, you don't need to be looking at it. So you hit enter and you realize a week later that you didn't get your package on time, and you go back and look, and what happened, you weren't paying attention, you entered the wrong data in. If the website would have had the ability to catch that and give you a heads up and let you fix the data up front, there wouldn't have been that delay. So that's how employees will enter in bad data and cause an issue. If you put in a real-time data governance process that will capture those errors and give them the ability to fix it, you're going to reduce those errors